We've asked this question before this question even existed. Now, you're probably wondering what I mean by that. Basically, since the base model S21 was announced back in January 2021, from the minute we saw Samsung made massive cutbacks in the materials, hardware features, and also especially the price, we automatically questioned whether we needed a fan edition of the S21 later on in the year, since this base model S21 seemed to be a fan edition in disguise. A year later than expected, compared to the release of the S20 FE, is it worth still considering the S21 FE over the standard base model S21? Hi, Ben from SamMobile. If you enjoy new and exclusive videos like this, then be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any future videos on YouTube with SamMobile TV. Here is our quickfire comparison between the S21 FE and the S21. We are going to kick things off with the design and build, but before we do, just remember this is a quick fire general comparison, as we've done detailed hands-on and reviews of both the S21 FE and the Galaxy S21. Let's come back to the design. Both follow the same look and design language, but there are subtle differences between the two. The footprint and size of the phones, especially in the hand, don't feel that different when using them side by side, which actually favors the S21 FE more, which we will touch on later as to why. We like the matte finish of the metal frame of the S21 FE as it looks cleaner, catches little to no fingerprints, and also feels easier to hold without a case compared to a more glossy finish on the Galaxy S21. What we do like more about the S21 is how the rear camera module blends more into the frame of the phone and also has a chamfered cut surrounding the camera housing at the rear, which adds a more premium look to the rear design. Speaking of premium, it's strange to say this when talking about plastic materials being used on both devices, but the S21's rear plastic feels slightly more premium. And again, this is not to say that S21 FE doesn't have a nice feel, because the slightly more shadowed layer feel to the finish and also the Samsung logo still makes a very nice feeling plastic. Both use Gorilla Glass Victus for the front display, so they equally feel as nice to the touch. It's a close one, but the S21 slightly edges here, but really, in the grand scheme of things, the difference is not by that much. For the display and audio, things are much closer on paper and in person than expected, but there are small things that favor one over the other. Firstly, what's the same between the two? Both are using full high definition plus 120Hz dynamic AMOLED displays, which both feel equally as bright and vibrant when using them side by side. The difference starts with the size. The S21 FE is using a 6.4-inch panel compared to the 6.2 of the S21, which makes it feel slightly better when it comes to the viewing experience, even though the size of the phone feels not much bigger compared to the S21. Next, the S21 is actually using an LTPO adaptive refresh panel, which refreshes between 48Hz to 120Hz for better efficiency, which is something you just won't find on the S21 FE. Not by much, but the S21 does have a smaller hole punch for the selfie camera compared to the S21 FE, which makes for a cleaner look. Then comes the fingerprint scanners. The S21 is not only in a better position when it comes to the slight position slightly being higher, but when using it with or without the display being on, it's super quick to the response and also very accurate, thanks to the second generation ultrasonic scanner being used. The S21 FE, although optical, can still work without the display being active, but naturally, when it comes to the speed, it's not as fast as the S21, even though it's still very accurate. Both are using dual speakers, which are loud and clear, but when it comes to the bass, the S21 does have a slightly nicer bassy feel when it comes to the audio through the speakers. It's pretty close when it comes to this section, but let us know in the comment section below which one you would pick when it comes to the display and audio. This is going to be a quick one when it comes to the performance, because although things can differ depending on the region you're in, both the S21 FE and the S21 feel near enough the same when it comes to day-to-day usage. Only slight worry is that most regions with the base model of the S21 FE starts with 6GB of RAM compared to 8GB found on the S21. So how well that will last over the years is yet to be seen, but both Exynos 2100 and Snapdragon 888 give the same performance, and you'll be hard pressed to really tell them apart. In terms of the camera, both are solid and well-rounded in their own right, but we have to give the edge here and the win to the S21. This is mostly down to better shooting modes, mainly when it comes to video. As it does support 8K, you do have 4K 60 frames per second video on the ultra-wide angle lens, which is something that is lacking on the S21 FE, plus better video stabilization, even all the way up to 4K 60 frames per second. Photos are near enough on par with each other, but thanks to the slightly more capable hardware on the S21, you do get more consistent shots when it comes to detail, sharpness, color, and also dynamic range. We still praise the cameras on the S21 FE, so don't feel hard pressed into thinking you won't get a good camera experience with it, but in this comparison, the S21 is the way to go. In terms of the software, although the S21 FE is the first Galaxy phone to come with Android 12 out of the box, both phones are running One UI 4, so the experience when it comes to features and day-to-day use are the same, and you won't see much difference, if any, between the two. As the S21 FE was released a year later, based on Samsung's update policy, it should get one more OS version update compared to the S21. This part is pretty much neck and neck, meaning you won't miss anything in the software experience between the two, regardless of which one you choose. When it comes to the battery, we have to give a clear win to this one for the S21 FE, purely based on the fact that it is using a 4,500 mAh battery compared to the 4,000 found in the S21, which does translate to longer battery life when using it day to day. They offer the same 25 watt wire charging, 15 watt wireless charging, and 4.5 watt power share, and equally no chargers in the box. Concluding this comparison, the trickiest part here is the pricing on both sides. Take the S21. It's a year old now, so although the MSRP starts at $799, it's much easier to find them at a lower price brand new this time round. Then, with the S21 FE, with the starting price at $699, you could say that ideally it should really start no more than $649 for the price tag. But even that in mind, overall things really still favor the S21 FE. Potentially though, the biggest problem for both these models is that the base model S22 is just around the corner. But if you couldn't wait till then, which one would you pick? Let us know in the comment section below. For the latest news in the world of Samsung Daily, be sure to visit us at SamMobile.com. And for the latest videos on YouTube with SamMobile TV, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications, and we will see you next time.